The Middle East, crossroads of biblical civilizations, home of the world's major religions, and now what state officials hope will be a fertile new market for Maryland business. I'm Lou Davis. Tonight we'll follow Governor Schaefer on a tour of Israel, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. We'll show you what the governor saw and did, and later we'll talk to him about what was accomplished and how it's all affected by the Port of Baltimore. From atop the Mount of Olives, you can see all of the old city of Jerusalem. There are few sites that rival one's first visit to this ancient city. The site which is the root of three of the world's major religions, Islam, Christianity, and for Judaism, the Western Wall, the remains of Solomon's Temple. The governor had been here once before, 17 years ago, but for most of the group, this was the first time. Although the purpose of the trip was economic development, there was plenty of time for sightseeing, and we were led through the excavations at the ancient fort city of Caesarea. Caesarea was built by King Herod in the 1st century. About halfway between the modern cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa, Caesarea was a busy port city during the years of Pontius Pilate, when he made his capital here. Atop one of the hills in Jerusalem, not far from the old city, is Yad Vashem, a memorial built in memory to the 6 million Jews who were killed during the Holocaust. The governor and the group were in Israel for 4 days, but Schaefer basically came on this trip because he wanted to see the pyramids.
Oh, pyramids, yeah, all right. We got picture of pyramids here. All right, here we got pyramids. You got pyramids?
The sheer mass of the pyramids, the idea that they've been standing here in the desert for more than 4,000 years, and that they were built without the use of heavy machinery, is a testament to the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians, something that was not lost on the governor.
It's just amazing.
Luxor was where the pharaohs eventually moved the capital from Cairo, and it's here along the banks of the Nile where Thebes and Karnak became the center of the Egyptian civilizations during the reigns of Ramses. Luxor is Baltimore's sister city. The governor and the mission members were hosted on a late afternoon Nile cruise.
From now on, I want that when I come into my office.
As the sun sets over the ancient temples, we watch the fishermen working the waters here as they have for thousands of years. Back in Cairo, the mission members had a special invitation, a tea with Mrs. Sadat.
You know Dr. Kerwin, of course.
Oh, yes, sure.
University,
Yes. Well, I am in his university.
Yes, I know, yeah.
Mrs. Sadat spends much of her time in Maryland now. She's a guest lecturer at the University of Maryland College Park. She's been a guest at the governor's mansion in Annapolis, and she flew back to Egypt to meet with the governor while he was here and to host this small party. From Egypt, the group went on to Saudi Arabia, where the governor was treated like the royalty he visited. When we return, we'll show you the splendor of Saudi Arabia.
We were honored. Thank you. I'm very happy to see you.
And the mission literally received royal treatment during this last stop of our trip.
This was 5 centuries and a half ago, the Palace of Justice.
500 years ago, this was the home of the royal family. It was destroyed by the Ottoman Turks, and the king was exiled. Governor Schaefer met with government leaders in each of the countries we visited. In Saudi Arabia, he was the guest of Prince Salman bin Abdulaziz. Earlier in Egypt, he was summoned to the office of President Hosni Mubarak. They met in private for over an hour. The governor says he told the Egyptian president about his meeting earlier with Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir. Shamir had asked the governor to pass along a message of peace.
Our greatest wish, greatest desire is to make peace, and we need the help of the United States in the achievement of this goal. Peace be secured.
This was the 5th trip to a foreign country for Governor Schaefer since he took office 3 years ago. There has been criticism of spending state funds to send the governor on these so-called economic development trips. Now that he's back, we had a chance to sit down with him in his study in the governor's mansion to talk to him about the values of going overseas.
Not only was it worth it, the whole trip was paid for by just one contract that one of the men got while he was traveling with us. We had 3 businessmen that went with us. They made enough money to cover the whole trip themselves from the standpoint of the taxpayer. In addition to that, when you go on these trips, in many instances, you don't see what exactly the contract at that moment. 18 months from now, we'll see if the trip was worth it. I think we've made good contacts in Saudi Arabia, which, by the way, is very pro-America. And in Egypt, we made contact with business people. And in Israel, of course, we do have much going on there anyway.